Now, assessment 2 really is designed to get the creative juices flowing. That's where it comes down to, that part of this subject, part of this project is about coming up with ideas. And we know from the research that if you work as a group and try and brainstorm a bunch of ideas, you'll come up with a certain number, but that number is rarely any more than the best producer of ideas in the group. So if the best producer of ideas in the group comes up with 20 good ideas, chances are that the group as a whole will only come up with 19. That's what the research says. So what we're going to do is we're going to send you off to come up with ideas on your own. And this isn't to say that you're not going to talk to your colleagues in your team about this, but you will be working to create ideas to bring back together to the group. So this portfolio really forms the foundation of that. And it's got 3 major components. The first 2 that you'll do independently in consultation with your group, and then the final one that you'll actually work on together. So what you'll need to do, so for the first component, basically what you need to do is to engage with the exploring your community module. Now that module is specifically designed to walk you through the process of developing a much richer understanding of the nature and characteristics of your community. Now you might want to go beyond the instructions in that module, but that module really captures that process. And so that will give you a bunch of information to work with when you're creating that 500-word piece. And basically, you'll be answering the question of how might the community characteristics influence the health and well-being of this community. Now, remember that health and well-being is not illness, okay? So it might be that the characteristics of the community, one of the characteristics is sporting activity, and that might actually lead to an increase in physical health, okay? Really lazy example, but think about how it might influence. Don't think negative all the time. So make sure you really dig deep into that module. Now, the second component, you'll be doing a similar thing, but you'll be using the Flexi module. So as a group, you're going to need to sit down and work out who's going to do which module. And this is really intentional. So your group will do a total of 10 modules. And each of you will come with unique contributions or ideas that may end up in the final project. And that's the point of this. So you will go away with 2 modules that you're going to do. And your task is to really engage deeply with that module, understand the content of that module, and think carefully about how the content of that module might influence, might be able to be used in addressing the project brief. So you will have you already should have, after week 1, you should have an understanding of what the project brief is, what we're trying to achieve, what our aims are. So we want you to think carefully about how the module that you're doing might have an influence. Now that might be that you might put a whole project together, that you might think about it, applying your module, and you've got this great project idea and you put that whole thing in there. Or it might be a subcomponent about the way in which you engage with the project. Doesn't matter. We don't mind. Okay, but we want you to think carefully and creatively about how the information that you're reading in that module might be used in a creative approach to address the project brief. Now, you're going to need to get that done well before, or at least the dot points, well before the assessment is due. Now, the reason for that is that as a group, you're going to take all of those ideas and talk through them and identify a few of them that are really strong, or a couple of them that you might want to join into one, because your group is going to work together to create a 1,000-word piece, so the equivalent of 200 words each, but you won't be able to write it that way, basically talking about the strongest ideas that your group has come up with. It's also okay if your group comes up with a set of 10 ideas, and then as a result of those ideas, your group has this aha moment and you actually come up with an 11th idea and you want to present that, then that's fine too. Now, the idea of this final piece is that what you're going to do is you're going to present 2 ideas that your group has developed, and we would expect that probably that you'll be using some of the ideas that individuals had developed or bringing them together. And you will be describing why these ideas are successful. Why do you think these ideas will be successful? Why do you think that they'll work? Why do you think that they'll make a difference to health and well-being? And then secondly, what are the 2 challenges that a community would face in implementing these ideas within the community? So great ideas are great, but they need to actually work. So have a think about what are 2 challenges that you might face in implementing these ideas. Now, if you do that and engage well as a team, you'll do really, really well in this assessment. And more importantly, it will become the foundation for your presentation, for your proposal to the community. So we want this work to become a real stepping stone towards creating a great presentation for the community. Looking forward to reading your work and hearing about your ideas.